I'm back. It's week 45, except it's more like week 48. I'm running behind, but that's all right. I'm catching up. I've recorded 3 videos this week. I'm spending the weekend editing. So this is episode 45 of me catching up with people I know or don't know and asking them more about why they do the things they do. This is one of those ones where I'd like to say it's another runner, but not your typical runner. And you're about to find out what I mean about that. So let's go meet Wonder Woman. This is Kelly.
Hi.
Now, you're one of the people that I've set out to do this project for, which was about getting to know people I know and getting to know people I don't know and find out about them. And I really don't know you at all, except that several years ago, your husband moved his business in across my car park. And I remember one of the guys that worked for me came out and said, there's a car with a number plate on it that's right up your alley. And your number plate is, I love running.
Yep.
And so fast forward, how many years ago would that have been?
So he's had that workshop that you're talking about. We've been there for probably about 2 years now,
Right, there we
maybe
go.
not even.
So it's taken me 2 years to reach out to you and go, I want to meet you. So let's start there. You do a bit of running.
I do a bit of running, yes.
Have you always ran?
No, haven't always ran. Used to be quite the opposing opposite. And a lot of
Okay.
people find that quite hard to believe. So yeah, used to be a smoker, used to be overweight, used to drink a lot. So yeah, not anymore.
And tell us about what got you into running in the beginning.
So I just wanted to quit smoking,
Right.
basically. And at the time, I obviously wasn't very fit. I could not even run from one street light to another. And so I was like, you know what? Someone said to me, oh, if you quit smoking, you're going to get fat. It's like, I'm going to show you. So every time I felt like a cigarette, I would run.
Right.
And I got onto this little mission. I just want to be able to run around the block. And this was before Garmin or Strava days. And so I just wanted to make it around the block without stopping. And when I finally did that, it took a long time because I was not fit. When I finally did that, I was like, oh, I'm going to sign up. And Jetty to Jetty was one of the first ever runs I did.
Right.
That was only 5 kilometers, mind you, back then.
Although this is the first time we've met in person, my first memory of you is actually a Jetty to Jetty where I'm running along and I'm like, was that Wonder Woman that just went by?
That's me.
So what's with and that's not the only time you've run that in costume, is it?
I do it pretty much ever since they started the dress in costume competition, fancy dress competition.
There you go.
Yeah.
And you must have done Jetty to Jetty a few times because you got the golden bib last year.
Yes, I've done it over, the 21 I've done over 10 times.
Right.
I've done the 10 kilometre and I've done the 5 a couple of times as well.
Yeah,
So
awesome.
Jetty to Jetty's got a little spot in me because that's where I started my run journey.
Yeah,
So
awesome.
I'd literally walk down because I used to live over at Brighton. I'd literally walk down the end of the street and there I'd be running. So that was handy back in the days, but now it's a bit far, but I still do it. Love it.
Yeah, awesome.
So it's a good little run.
Jetty to Jetty's an initial breakout for a lot of people in their running journeys. It's the first time I ever wore a bib was at the Jetty to Jetty
Oh,
too.
there you go. It's a nice run because it's all the way along the waterfront.
Absolutely.
So it's really pretty. Well, the 21 is anyway.
So let's go backwards. What did you do before we get on to what you do now? Because I think it ties in with your running, but what did you used to do?
So I used to do started off as data entry back when I lived in Victoria. So yeah, I used to be a computer nerd.
Mhm.
You wouldn't think it now. And now that like all the technology's changed, I wouldn't know anything about computers, but I used to do data entry. And then I moved up into customer service in the same company. And then they put me into CEO. So I worked for a company called Ryco for a long time. It was like one of my first jobs. So
Yeah, wow.
I made my way up from the bottom to the top. But yeah, I just found it very stressful. They gave me I moved, so they promoted me and I moved from Victoria up to Brisbane, became CEO up here and worked up here for a little while.
Yep.
Before I was smoking and drinking way too much. So I thought, no, my life's got to change and I'm going to do something less stressful and maybe something that I enjoy. And yeah, so I started the running and quit smoking process and I was seeing a personal trainer at the time.
Yep.
Well, that's not a bad job, So I made my way to maybe start studying and doing that. So
Right.
yeah.
And so what do you do now?
So now I do mostly fitness instructing because I like the group environment and it's not as competitive as personal training.
Yep.
But I do personal training as well. My love is actually Pilates. So I do
Okay.
Pilates mat work, Pilates reformer. And I also do a couple of running programs for some of my runners too. So I've got my run coaching
Awesome.
as well. So
And do you
yeah,
do that locally here on the island?
mostly on the island.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. What's your favorite distance?
Well, just done 100K about 3 weeks ago. And I wouldn't have said this my first 100K, but I really, really liked it. So I've
Yeah,
got the
wow.
100K urge now. I'm like, when's my next one?
And that's the furthest you've
So
done?
yeah, I've done 100 before, but that one was actually 103. So
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
And did I see somewhere on your social media at some point you'd done or you were setting out to do a certain number of 50Ks or
Yes. So not last year, the year before. It was just one of my friends at the gym. I did the New Zealand one, Tarawera 50.
Yep.
And then the next month I did Yandina 50. So I'd done two month to month. And she just looked at me and she goes, why don't you just do 50K every month for 12 months? And I said, oh, I didn't do one in January. And she goes, well, you don't need to start in January, do you? And so I set out and I got my little list out and wrote down all the 50Ks, but some of them were like Brisbane Trail Marathon, which is coming up again this year. That was only 42. So I'd tackle another 8Ks on, which was always hard because you'd finish the
Yep.
run and stopped and then I'd do another 8K. And so, yeah, I did that and did, March, April, all the way through. And then I did two back to back. So I did Rainbow Beach and I did the Guzzler, but Rainbow Beach, obviously I had to add extra Ks. So, and then by the end of the month, I'd actually done 12, or by the end of the year, sorry, I'd actually done 12,
Yeah,
but
wow.
it was only 11 months because I didn't start in January.
That's a
So
lot of kilometers.
I'd recommend it to people that are looking into it because, like, if you're into longer running, you kind of get into a rhythm. So you do your 50K and then you would do a little recovery and then you do a couple of long runs and then you're running 50K again, recover. And it was just kind of like a little cycle. I really liked it.
And so with the long runs like that, do you find at the end of the year you've done a lot of kilometers? Do you know what you do a
Yeah.
year?
So last year I did 4,200.
Yeah, wow,
And
okay.
the year before that, I did 3,800. And so every year I'm trying to increase my kilometers. I was speaking to someone about that this morning because I'm on Runs of the World.
Okay.
So that's a little app where you log all your Ks and you run virtually around wherever you want. So I've done Australia. That took me 6 years.
Yep.
And now I'm running New Zealand. And I was hoping to run New Zealand in 12 months, but it's going to be 13.
Yeah,
So
wow.
because 100Ks took me a little long to recover from.
So you live here on
So,
the island?
yep.
I've run a bit on the island. You must have seen most of it by now with the kilometers you're doing.
Yes.
It
Yep.
doesn't take much to go around the island or the urban part of the island.
Yeah. So when I did one of my 50Ks, there was a couple that I had to do on my own that weren't part of an event. And I did my own. I've actually recorded it on my Strava. So I've got it saved. And it started off at White Patch
Yep.
and I ran through the state forest. So all the soft sand onto the other side near Warren,
Oh,
near the
wow.
ports.
Yep.
And then it was all the way along the beach. And then it came back up First Avenue. So I'd actually set out the day before, put a pair of shoes. So I had my trail shoes and then got to the toilets at the surf club, changed shoes, and then it was all pretty much pavement all the way back. But running on your own, so boring.
What's your favorite movement in the gym?
I'm very much into functional training.
Okay.
So, a lot of, and obviously Pilates as well, but a lot of injury prevention, not so much heavy weight. Like I know that they've got their benefits, but I'm very much into, the pulling, the pushing,
Yep.
moving your body in different planes just to help prevent injuries and keep active without over killing your body.
Yep.
So,
If I turn 50 next month,
yep.
which
You're
I'm
doing 50 for 50?
Oh, no,
Yeah, you
not at all.
are.
If there was an exercise or a bunch of exercises that somebody that's approaching, 50 should be making sure they start doing if they're not already doing, what would you recommend?
Definitely even basically anyone, definitely starting with your squatting, your push-ups, even on push-ups on the wall. You don't have to do them down on your toes, but even with your squatting, body weight squatting,
Yep.
lunges if you can, step back lunges, forward lunges, safely, try to protect your knees. And definitely the plank,
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Would it be fair to say that you would, I identify with this, so I wonder if you do too. I'm at peak fitness. This is the fittest I've ever been in my life. Would that be the same for you too?
Definitely. Yeah.
You're a walking billboard for fitness. What do you think motivates you to be on that path of getting fitter as you get older?
I actually really think living on Bribie, especially with the gyms that I work at, I see, and your mind will boggle if you're not from Bribie, but you come to these gyms and you see people in their 60s and 70s fitter than some of these people in their 20s, and you know what? Like I teach a lot of multi-classes, so boot camps and Sparta and HIIT. And some of these older people are doing hits and they can smash a 20-year-old at the ballpark. It's just, and I look at these people and, you're saying I'm a billboard, but I look at them and go, I want to be like that when I'm older. I still want to be fit. I still want to be jumping around. And I don't know about you, but one of the things I hate hearing, and I heard it the other day from a negative Nancy, your knees are going to be so shot, or you're going to need new knees and new hips before you're 60 because you're running. And it's it's so wrong. Like
Yeah.
it's old myths.
I always tell people
So
my knees are fine because I didn't use them for the first 40 years of my life. So
yeah,
they're brand
exactly. I
new.
got into running late, so I'll be fine. No, but I do, and I think trail running is good for that. Like, it's not as hard on your joints as pavement, but it's all in your technique and stuff as well,
Yeah.
in strength training and stuff. So
And I always like the saying, use it or lose it.
yeah, exactly.
Very much the case as you get older.
Exactly.
And certainly that metric, once you get to that point in life where you no longer can get up off the floor by yourself, is a real turning point
Yes.
in fitness. Now, across the car park from my work is your husband's business, Travis. Tell me
Yep.
what he does.
So he's a hydraulic hose fitter.
Okay. And tell me about your car. What do you drive?
I drive a Mustang and I love it.
And not just any Mustang. Not only do you have the number plates that I wish I had, you got a convertible.
Yes. Yeah, you got to
Excellent.
get a Mustang, you got to get the convertible.
And I'm pretty sure one day I saw you at work across the car park on a motorbike.
Yes,
Got a motorbike?
I do.
Oh,
Yeah.
Do you get out on it?
Not as much as I'd like to,
All right.
but I do, yeah.
What do you
So
got?
I got a little Harley 48. So
Yeah, awesome.
yeah.
What's your favorite run event?
Well, there's probably two now. I've got a lot. There's a lot in there, but Great Wall of China is probably my favorite overseas, and that was before the COVID.
Yep.
That was just like, wow. I remember getting off the bus and looking at the Great Wall going, I'm going to run that. My heart dropped and I was just like, I don't think I'm going to do this, but it was just, and yeah, not long ago, I just did the Tasmania Gone Nuts 101. And
Right. As
that
in
was-
just a couple of weeks ago?
yeah, 3
Right.
weeks ago. Yeah. So that was just absolutely stunning.
Yeah, awesome.
Trail wise, one of the most beautiful, like technical, really hard, really technical, but absolutely stunning. So yeah.
Awesome.
And now I'm kind of at that point where is anything going to beat that? I feel a little bit, oh.
Do you have any big event coming up in the future that you're looking forward to?
Well, I'm going to give Dead Cow Gully another go.
Okay. That's
I
the
don't-
loop
That's
thing?
the loop
Yep.
thing. And it's actually a lot harder than what you think it is. The whole, especially me, I kind of thought, oh, I do stop start all day. I'll be fine at this. It's actually really hard.
Yeah, okay.
So you do 6.7 on the hour, every hour. You can smash it, you can walk it, but you got to make the timing. And then you can just go as long as you want. So obviously the world record, I think, is 5 days.
Yep.
Which is a long time. I don't plan on doing that. But in my head, I'm like, well, last year I did 10 laps. I made the timing, went out on the 11th lap. I knew I wasn't going to make the timing, but I just wanted to do the Ks for my map around. I think it was Australia at the time. Might have been New Zealand. I don't know. But I wanted to do the Ks. Well, I knew I wasn't going to make it. I was a little bit nausea. So yeah, this year I'd like to make it 100. That's
Yep.
my goal, but I don't want to put pressure on myself. If I do it, I do it. If I don't, I don't.
Yeah,
So,
awesome. Oh,
yeah.
thank you very much for
Yeah.
chatting with me today. Were you into cars before running, or did you find this new path in life sent you on this?
I don't know. I just love like sporty cars, and everyone's like, "Oh, that suits you." And I like different. So
Yep.
even with my car and my motorbike, I like. And people say it's obnoxious. It goes with my obnoxious personality. Well, so be it. If I'm obnoxious, I'm not obnoxious. But I like different. Like I'll never have a white car. I'll never have a standard car. I've got to have something that stands out. And the same with my motorbike. It's a
Yep.
little bit loud if you've heard it. It's a bit, yeah.
Very.
Just life's short. Enjoy it and
Yep.
enjoy things if you can. So
I think because this month is the first time in my life I get to say next month I turn 50, and I did that thing where I just ordered a motorbike.
yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. Perfect.
Thank you.